Back with more Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is episode 18 of season 2. Very excited to carry on. So what's going to happen next? Last episode, the gang finally found Appa and reunited with him, which was very wholesome, and it means I've been able to get sleep again because that was stressing me out. So I'm glad that they had their big reunion, and I'm excited to see what's next for them. We had a big moment for Zuko as well in terms of like letting Appa go. And not getting caught up in the whole chasing down the Avatar thing again, which was a kind of a big moment for him. I liked Iroh kind of encouraging him through that, and he let the blue spirit mask go, so he's kind of let go of that side of himself. And I believe we also kind of got a wrapping up of Jet as a character for his arc as well. It seems that he probably did not survive much longer after the events of that episode. So it was a very kind of tragic send-off for his character, but I quite like the redemption that they gave him. But yeah, we're heading into the last couple of episodes of this season now, so I'm excited to see, what kind of big climax they're building towards for this second season. This kind of middle chapter, I guess, of the story of The Last Airbender. So yeah, very excited, and let's get into the next one.
I miss you more than you'll ever know, buddy.
Oh.
Noticed, but things don't usually go that smoothly for our little gang.
I know, but I've got a good feeling about this.
She's got a point.
This time will be different.
If the Earth King knew the truth, things could change. I don't trust the new positive Sokka. Longfang brainwashed you. Let's fly.
Yeah. If all else fails, Appa can just eat them all.
I think we're just gonna sail right in and
Or yeah, he's on a mission now. Now listen here, you little shits. Look at this team. Unstoppable. Oh. That seems like a waste of some good statues. Whoa! Huh. I love how far they've all come with their powers, like not just on their own, but like working together on stuff as well.
I don't feel right.
Oh. Oh no.
Zuko!
Oh shit. There was an attempt. Oh, Aang's getting so powerful. I love it.
We're friends, your earthiness.
Yeah. This guy sucks.
A secret war? That's crazy.
Completely.
Tell that to Marvel.
Didn't want us to tell you.
I have to trust my advisor.
I advise you don't.
Wait! Longfang said he's never seen a sky bison. Ask him to lift his robe.
What? I am not disrobing.
Oh yeah.
Right there.
Sokka, you're so clever.
Birthmark.
That pretty much proves it. But it doesn't prove this crazy conspiracy theory. No, I suppose this matter is worth looking into.
And it does prove that he's lying.
Take it.
You've never been outside the upper ring before?
I've never been outside the palace. Now
Jeez.
that's the way to travel.
You're about to see where all the brainwashing and conspiring took place.
Has that guy done something now? He's probably had time to prepare.
It's gone.
Oh, don't tell me. That's okay. Still got my positive attitude.
Dai Li must have known we were coming and destroyed the evidence.
No Earth King has ever been to the Outer Wall. I don't have any more time.
Then
for
make
this
some history,
nonsense.
my friend.
If you come with us,
Yeah.
this time you can ride on Appa.
Uh-oh.
Just let go. Give in to it. Shut your eyes for a while.
No, Fire Lord Zuko.
Huh.
Do not listen
It's interesting who he views as like his biggest positive influence and his biggest negative one. It's not even like his father's voice, it was Azula.
Just like
Alright, Blue Dragon. Bit rude.
What is that?
It's a drill. A giant drill made by the Fire Nation to break through your walls.
I can explain this, Your Majesty.
I bet you bloody can.
Nothing more than-
Dai Li, arrest Longfeng. I want him to stand trial for crimes against the Earth Kingdom.
Yes. Yes. Oh no.
Looks like Long Fang is long gone.
Savage.
Yeah. Take the offensive and give yourself a fighting chance.
Very well. You have my support.
Hooray!
It's a letter from your mom. Your mom's here in the city, and she wants to see you.
Oh.
Longfang intercepted our letters from home? It's from the Eastern
Ah, yes.
Protecting the mouth of Chameleon Bay? Led by Hakoda? It is that!
Oh.
It was in such conflict with your image of yourself that you are now at war within your own mind and body.
Oh, damn.
What's that mean?
It will not be a pleasant experience. But when you
Like
grow
your
up,
whole life.
you will be the beautiful prince you are always meant to be.
He's being punished for making progress, which is just sad.
Says he's a guru. We have to split up.
Oh, I knew they were going to say that.
We just found Appa and got the family back together. Now you want us to separate?
When's that ever a good idea?
I know how badly you want to help Dad. You go to Chameleon Bay. I'll stay here with the king.
Oh.
You are the nicest sister.
Aw. That's wholesome.
I've been wanting to say it for a long time. What
Oh.
is it?
Katara?
I...
Alright, who's ready to get going on a little meddling
Sake.
There are 3 female warriors here to see you. They're from the island of Kyoshi.
That's Suki!
Oh. Oh. I'm scared it's going to be Azula and her
We
friends,
shall
though.
welcome them as honored guests.
Oh. Maybe check who they are first, though. Oh.
Great. That's enough. Okay, we love each other. Seriously.
And I love you all. How's your torment going, pal? Oh. Oh my. Oh, stayed on that side of him.
You see,
Is that history still kind of
positive thinking
prevailing
works
over him?
Everything is gonna work out perfectly. From now on and forever.
Sure.
The Dai Li remains loyal to you,
Yeah,
sir.
that's what I thought. They hesitated when they captured him. God damn it. Here we go.
One loudmouthed little
Yeah.
brat.
The Kyoshi Warriors.
We are the Earth King's humble servants.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be them. Well, that's great, isn't it? Okay, another really good episode. I liked the plot progress we were making, like the Earth King and stuff, but there's also some more personal journeys in there as well. More so with Zuko, I think, than anything else. But, you know, they're setting up some good kind of payoffs, I think. Lots of little pieces kind of moving around in like the last 5 minutes or so, which I quite liked. I mean, we're not done with the whole Long Fen situation, obviously, because the Dai Li is still faithful to him. They did that whole scene setting that up. So that story's not necessarily wrapped up. So it probably would have been a bit too easy if that was just it. And like, yay, we've defeated him, we've won the day, he's been exposed. So the fact that there's, you know, the fact that it's been all these years lying to the Earth King about the war and everything and keeping Ba Sing Se very separate from that, if it had all been undone, you know, just like that, you know, it probably wouldn't have been a bit too easy. So after all that loyalty to him for so long, it makes sense that, you know, the Dai Li are still on his side. So there's that to deal with. And I'm guessing, I mean, I feel for Katara staying behind there, really, because there's going to be that going on, and now Azula and co have just rocked up as well, so she's going to have a lot of problems to deal with on her own there. but then we have Aang also going off to see Patik, and kind of advance his training with that. And Sokka's going off to reunite with his dad, hopefully. Toph's just been captured by those guys, so again, that's kind of been quite a slow burn, I think, this season with those two. They've propped up a few times, but there's obviously going to be some kind of resolution to that. Because that was like episode 6 or so, wasn't it? That Toph's dad kind of sent those people off to kind of track Toph down. So that is interesting to have all these elements probably be set up. And I'm guessing we're going to get like a 2-part finale again now with 19 and 20. So it feels like they're just going to tackle all of that head on with those 2 episodes, perhaps. I could be wrong, but either way, I imagine a lot of this is going to be dealt with in these next 2 episodes. So there's a lot of kind of plot stuff that they set up there with that I'm excited to see paid off in the next couple. But also it seems like we're going to have like a personal kind of arc being maybe not wrapped up per se, but maybe his season-long arc wrapped up with Zuko. And maybe that's going to be a more of like a separate storyline and not going to tie in as much. Or maybe it really will tie in to the main plot. But everything with Zuko I found really interesting in this one. The fact that his huge personal leap in the last episode of maybe letting some of that go about what his journey's been since we kind of first met him, the fact that that's plaguing him in a way, and it's gone so much against how he saw himself before that's making him sick. They really aren't letting him just have an easy redemption, and I quite appreciate that in a way, because he did do some bad things, but you also understand where he's been coming from all this time because of his upbringing and stuff. But even like to make progress emotionally and personally, to like maybe redeem yourself and be a better person, be the person you're meant to be, he's still suffering for it, the poor guy, actually making himself ill. But I love that Iroh knew what it was and kind of is so... I think he's gone through his own personal traumas, we've seen, and he's talked about briefly, and I think Tales of Ba Sing Se kind of highlighted some of those traumas for him and his little story with his son and losing his son and everything. So he's very quick to, I think, recognise that in people and understand how people work. He's incredibly clever. We even saw in his story in Tales of Ba Sing Se, what he needed to do to like help out all these different situations, and like ease some of the suffering or the plagues that people were dealing with during his day while he was going through his own personal stuff. But he's kind of found that balance now. He is a very balanced person. We've kind of seen that again and again, and he's been teaching that to Zuko, and I think that's going to come in handy as Zuko tries to find this balance within himself. And if we kind of get to a place at some point where Zuko is so comfortable and at peace with himself and who he is as Iroh is, that would be bloody insane and be really cool, like a character arc for him. And this could probably kick off that journey, it would seem. Like whatever he was kind of dreaming there when he was passed out and stuff. I did like kind of the angel and devil on his shoulder, but just 2 different coloured dragons, and one was the voice of Iroh, one was the voice of Azula. I liked that choice. Very interesting that like it wasn't his dad, it was Azula's voice. That was kind of like saying, just give in and die or whatever. I found that quite interesting, the fact that that's what his subconscious, I guess, represents to him. Like that side of him, it's not his dad, it's his sister's voice. I found that quite something, actually. And I don't know if just because he's more recently interacted with Azula, or he's already dealt with, letting go of everything with his dad and everything. But that internal struggle, I think, is very interesting, and I loved how they framed it with those 2 dragons, the voice in his head, keep fighting, give up. He's constantly torn between these 2 sides, and even making one step either way, like getting rid of the mask and stuff, is plaguing him all over again. And then that final shot of him, like it looked like he was the Avatar, he was almost inhabiting Aang. I don't know if that's kind of foreshadowing in a sense of him, like, I don't want to say like he's not going to become the Avatar or anything, because that's not how it works, but I mean I've said plenty of times during the show, I think they've very purposely linked Aang and Zuko a lot. They've paralleled each other a lot, and I think that's kind of what they're representing with that. The fact that I think their journeys are intertwined, and maybe, you know, he could still be Aang's like fire teacher almost. So maybe that's kind of symbolizing that they are in many ways one and the same. They are very similar, and that's kind of what that is. I don't know if that's going to be a terrifying thought to Zuko, or if that's going to be just a big epiphany, because obviously he kind of woke up with a big start then, and then the camera kind of panned and it focused on his scarred side, which is obviously very symbolic of the traumatic past that he's gone through, and his Fire Nation past is kind of a mark of the Fire Nation, quite literally. So I don't know if this is the choice that he's made, or he still needs to deal with a lot of his trauma there. The fact that they've chosen to focus on that side of his face, that could go kind of either way in terms of what that means for where he's at. I'd be like, screw it, we're going to hunt down the Avatar again, because I don't want to look in the mirror and see that. Or is it going to be, this is the side that I need to kind of oppose and move past? It's still haunting me. There's so many different ways of reading that. So I'm excited to see exactly what it means. But it was cool to get some representations of, you know, how he sees Iroh, this big positive influence for him, and then Azula's voice is, you know, more so present for him than his dad right now, as like his negative influence in a way. I mean, he probably doesn't see it as positive and negative, because obviously he's still very much torn between all these two sides and all these different paths his life could take. So it's not like, oh yes, Azula is bad and Iroh is good. Obviously his relationships with them are good and bad, respectively. But, you know, there's more so representations of what they stand for rather than the people themselves. Otherwise, they would just be them talking to him instead of, like, dragon form. So, yeah, I'm very intrigued by all of that. I think there's a lot to kind of unpack with the dream he had there, and, you know, seeing his mother as well, and Azula Dragon being, like, making that very out of line remark about his mum's death, or disappearance, however it played out, I'm not quite sure. So that was quite something as well. And again, I guess that's Zuko's subconscious making that remark, but yeah, I like that we really had a lot of that explored with Zuko in this one, and he's so often had to fight between these two sides, and he's always been at war with that, I think, and at war within himself, but now it's physically represented and manifested in him getting sick because of it, and Iroh helping him through it is a cool thing. So I like that a lot, and I'm excited to see what the end goal for that is going to be. So I think, you know, these next 2 episodes are going to be very, very important for Zuko and his character arc and where he's going to go. I'm hoping he chooses to, like, maybe join Team Avatar at some point, or maybe be Aang's teacher. I'm still kind of grasping to that idea with all they have, because I'd love to see that. But, you know, I think everything they've done with Zuko's character, I think, has been incredibly interesting and incredibly complex. So I don't think there's necessarily a bad route to take it. Obviously, I'd be disappointed if he just goes back to how he was when we first met him or whatever. But, I trust them to very much have that not be the case. Or if, you know, it appears that way, there's going to be more to it, you know, or he's going undercover or something like that. So yeah, I loved everything with Zuko in this one, and I'm excited to see that explored. And yes, properly getting to glimpse the Earth King and see just how manipulated and lied to he's been all this time. The fact that until this episode he never left that temple place, you know, very isolated and kind of hidden in that sense. There's been a few occasions like that this season. You know, it's very much like how Toph was when we first met her. You know, she wasn't allowed really out to see the outside world, and she had to sneak out to do it. But the Earth King hadn't even done that really, because he had Long Fen in his ear telling him everything was fine. So I thought that was very clever how previous events, like him getting attacked by Appa in the last episode, so he had that bite mark and stuff, and that drill seemingly like just, well, we're just going to spend an episode taking down this drill. They bring it back, and it's used as proof for the Earth King that there is a war going on. So I like how, you know, you can retroactively appreciate some episodes even more. It's like, as if that hadn't happened, they couldn't have really proved their case to the Earth King as well. So I thought that was very clever. Again, just things you think are done and over with. Like, that was just like a big action-heavy episode, taking down this drill. to please the kids or whatever, I don't know. But then it comes back as a big plot point for this, and I love that, and showcasing the kind of found family of these guys, I think. Their little goodbyes as they're all splitting up, and Sokka kind of feeling left out at the hug, but they bring him into the hug, and he's like, oh, I didn't want to be hugged anyway, but he clearly did. I just love how far these characters have come. Aang's getting more and more powerful as well. You can just see that confidence he has in his skills now, just like Toph's always had since we've known her. And they're kind of working together on things, they're getting along really well. I just love the progress that they've made from when we first met them. And they're just such a well-oiled machine at this point, both in terms of their physical prowess with their powers and stuff, but also, their intelligence and their smarts, and like proving their points to the Earth King, and Sokka kind of coming up with all these ideas as to how they could prove it, and adopting this positive attitude and stuff. I like that side to Sokka, and Toph kind of getting quite scared of that and suspicious of it because Sokka's normally such a downer. I really liked that. They're probably building that up for an almighty fall with Sokka, I'd imagine. He's saying, oh, everything's going to be fine forever now, and obviously it's not, because things instantly then went wrong for everyone else. But yeah, that's really interesting, showcasing how far those guys have come, just how great they are with their powers at the minute, and Aang's just going to get all the more powerful because now he's going to try and properly master some earthbending with Patik, and then beyond as well, I assume needs to master fire. So yeah, I loved the kind of core group again, with Appa back as well, and Momo had a few cute moments when he was like hugging Appa, and he just seemed very inquisitive in this episode, old Momo, and I like that was all like background stuff really, and just things you can appreciate like that without him just dominating the plot. It's so easy, like a character like Momo, they just tell a joke with him or do like a comedy bit with him, but they don't often just lean on that for like a quick laugh or whatever. They just have him in the background doing his own thing, but it all adds to like his little personality, and I think that's very wholesome. Him trying to like read scrolls and stuff, wholesome. So yeah, I think Team Avatar themselves were on fine form in this one, and yeah, that setup with Long Fen's scrolls that he kind of hijacked puts Toph in a very dangerous position right now, so I'm sure that's going to be some conclusion for her story, maybe confronting her parents, and is she, they're going to like just say, you should go and travel and be free, we're wrong, soz, or is she just going to defy them all over again? I don't know, but obviously there's a big setup there, and because they've all split up, which, what a wonderful idea, it's always a good thing in fiction when characters split up. She's not going to necessarily have everyone there to help her out, it's going to be her embodying her own destiny and kind of fighting for it herself, because she's kind of on her own in that situation, much like Aang's going to be off on his own as well. Sokka's going to be on his own, Katara's on her own to deal with multiple problems that I'm sure she's going to be really excited about. But I liked all those little goodbyes. Aang nearly trying to tell her, tell Katara how he feels about her, getting interrupted, lots of little kind of character setups there that have been long since burning in the background. Maybe they'll be paid off in the finale, maybe it's going to be something for next season as well, who can really say. But yeah, I liked seeing Long Fen's crimes, I guess, get exposed. It's interesting because it's like ignorance is bliss, and you can kind of understand it in a way, but it's also just wrong to lie to the like entire city of people, especially about something like this war that some of them may want to kind of help fight their side in or whatever. They kind of robbed of that chance to actually decide what to do with that information. And yeah, once the Earth King kind of had the evidence, I like that he took the kid's side, and it's probably very difficult for him to go against his trusted advisor, learn all this stuff about exactly what's going on. Like, the world as he thought it was, it's complete lie, complete fiction. Because he's been so isolated and taken away from it his whole life. He probably feels a great deal of responsibility for that. And to then be like, I believe these children, that's probably incredibly hard for him to do and stand up and say. And, it's not necessarily going to work out well because the Dai Li is still loyal to Long Fen. So that's going to come back in some mischievous way. Far too easy to have dealt with him like that. So yeah, there's a lot to deal with all of it. But I did like, seeing him get his chance to shine and see that he is actually a good person as well. And it's just that kind of the corruption about him that he didn't know about, and that was kind of, his not so positive kind of attribute, I guess, right now. The naivety that had kind of been forced on him because he didn't know what was going on. So yeah, that was interesting to see all that play out. And there's going to be more to all these stories, obviously, because Long Fen was there chewing his food like, I'm evil. So yeah, hopefully we'll deal with him in the finales. I'm just assuming it's a 2-part finale. I could be wrong, but at least before the season's out, I imagine we're going to be dealing with that. I'm sure Toph will be dealing with her stuff. Sokka going to reunite with his dad, hopefully that's not a trap as well. That could be interesting. You know, there's been many occasions where they felt they could go and see their dad, but they've chosen to sometimes make the sacrifice to stay with Aang and be like, we need to continue journeying with him, we can't go and see dad just yet. So there's been quite a long build up to that as well. That could be a really cool moment for Sokka in his development. So I'm hoping we get to see a good chunk of that. And then yeah, Katara's been tested time and time again as well, so she's going to have Azula and co to deal with. As soon as they said, you know, we have 3 members of like the 3 Kyoshi warriors here, I was like, oh dear. So I felt like it'd probably be more if actually were the warriors of Kyoshi. So yeah, Azula and co have infiltrated that. So how long until that gets exposed and what they're going to do about that, we'll have to wait and see. So obviously Katara has fought them off a bit before, so there's going to be a rematch there maybe. And obviously since they're there, Zuko is still in Ba Sing Se, so this could be a good way of him physically making his choice by maybe fighting back against Azula again, or fighting alongside Katara and stuff. But I do like how at this point they've split the group up a bit, so we're heading into the last couple of episodes. They can all have individual kind of character moments to shine themselves, and then I imagine they'll come back together as a team to deal with, you know, whatever the big threat is ultimately going to be. 'Cause any of these could be a bigger deal, I guess. You know, maybe they do sort the Long Fen stuff out very quickly in the next episode or 2. Maybe we do get rid of Azula and co easily for the next bit or 2, but there's still something else kind of plaguing them that could be like the big threat. But it's all building to hopefully striking back against the Fire Nation when they're at their weakest during the eclipse. So yes, a lot being set up, both plot-wise and character-wise, particularly with Zuko in that case, in this one in particular. So yeah, I'm very intrigued to see how it all unfolds with these last couple of episodes this season, but I've really loved it. You know, I think with something like this, you know, like it's almost like a trilogy in a way, with it being 3 seasons. You know, the middle chapter, it's so hard to kind of keep that interesting and engaging, I think, for like a trilogy of films or whatever, and a 3-season show, you know. So the fact that the quality, I think, is just improved and improved and improved this season. It really is kind of so impressive what this show's managed to accomplish, and I can't wait to see where they take all of this stuff for the last 2 episodes of this season, and then into season 3 as well. I like that I still have quite a big chunk to get thus far. So yes, I'm very excited for that. But this was another fantastic episode, setting up a lot of stuff, but also you could feel like progress has been made. They were showcasing how far a lot of these characters have come, and in Zuko's case, kind of punishing him for how far he's come, but really being like, right, he needs to make this choice, it's going to happen now. So that's going to be a big moment for him, and everyone splitting off and stuff. Really cool setup for these last few episodes, and I'm very excited for them. So yeah, we'll see how it all pans out, wrapping up this season, but another great episode yet again. So yeah, that's going to be everything for now. Just wanted to take the opportunity to thank everyone actually for supporting these reactions. All the patrons, obviously, you kind of keep me sheltered. If you're supporting and pledging on Patreon and stuff, you know, it helps me not be homeless, so thanks for that. It does do me a solid, I must say, to have a roof over my head and a bit of security like that. So thank you so much to my patrons, as always. You're the real ones. And also to the YouTube people who have been incredibly patient during copyright and stuff. They've been on my arse copyright-wise this season, mainly. It's taken quite a long time for them to unblock videos. So thank you for your patience, and sometimes it's a couple of weeks in between episodes coming out, just because they haven't been unblocked yet. But when it has been, time to release one. You've always been super excited, and I get loads of really positive comments being like, oh, you're back, and I find them incredibly wholesome. And yes, they have made my day on several occasions, seeing how excited people are for more Avatar. So thank you guys for being such a wonderful community. It's been kind of a breath of fresh air interacting with the fandom during reactions in such a positive way. It's something I haven't really experienced to this extent for quite some time. So thank you very much for that as well. I just want to give you all a shout out. But yeah, 2 episodes left of this season, and then we're on to the final one, which is very sad. I'm not going to think about that for a while. That's still a way off yet. But yes, exciting things to come. Can't wait to see how they wrap up this season with the next 2 episodes. But this was another great one with some really cool setup. Hopefully they're going to pay it off in a very cool way. We shall see. But that's going to be everything for now. And until my next reaction, thanks for watching.